and Liquid Indonesia. Perceived as a team to beat, the tournament favorite, the final boss. On the surface, they are, yet if you look closely, you'll see that they are a super family. A bunch of members united by a single dream of taking home the World Championship trophy. Ang Lakas ng Pinas, Fnatic, Onic, Philippines! In their first foray as a team, these young stallions are already living the dream. They charge onto the World Championship stage as their region's champion, and now the cavalry marches proudly to repeat history and fulfill their country's legacy. Mereka adalah generasi baru Indonesia, Team Liquid Indonesia! A classic rivalry spearheading the dawn of a new legacy. Fnatic, Onic Philippines, Team Liquid Indonesia seize the moment and become greater than ever!
WM6, Axiata Arena. This is an opening. A lot to unpack here, folks. From the announcements, M7, just the finals in Indonesia. Where else? Like, I don't know, too many to dissect. But look, Leo, you saw teams coming in.
It's truly greater than ever. Can I just say that?
Now that's a sheesh. Thank you, W crowd, W crowd.
Makasih.
Now we gotta talk about this. The final boss, Fnatic, Onic, Philippines, walking in. This is their first time competing on the stage. TLID, they had one game on the Axiata stage. But now, Drex, Fnatic, Onic, this is gonna be their first time. Do you feel like they're gonna have shivers? Do you feel like they're gonna be nervous?
I think they're gonna be ready. I mean, I think any little bit of nervousness that comes with playing esports internationally at this level, that might be there, but I think they're gonna be ready. I think the moment that first blood comes in from either team and the crowd gets roaring, both of these teams are gonna be in the zone.
You know what? While we're here, fans of Axiata Arena, I just want to make sure that you guys are rooting for both teams. I don't care if you're for Onic. I don't care if you're for TLID. I just want to hear you roar. Axiata Arena, make some noise! This is the Malaysian hospitality. We care about good games. And all I care about, Wheezy, is for this team to showcase the best of the best.
Talk about setting the bar in the Axiata Arena, full circle where it started, the band, the new logo, the Stallions going up against the Super Family. What more could you ask for?
The minions got me going.
Oh,
you know, breakdance and minions, that's the first time I've ever seen
The
that.
fires?
Those fires
The
spinning?
fires?
And then you said, what if we had fireworks inside? They gave you fireworks inside.
Folks, 10 minutes in, we're about to jump into the draft. So we don't have much time to talk about this. So right now, Leo, I want to ask you, what do you think are the strengths for Fnatic Onic Philippines coming into this matchup?
Fnatic Onic Philippines are a team that have perfected their meta. I spent a good amount of time with them the night before we played our first games here in Axiata, and they believe that M6, the story of M6, is the meta, yes, evolving every day, and each team bringing their own flavor to that meta game. If you're able to find out your sweet spot where you flourish and where you can win toe-to-toe against your opponents in that space, you win. And that's the secret behind Fnatic Onic's flawless run here in M6.
You know what? That's an interesting take. I want to hear about TLID, but before that, we got to look at both teams. We got to see their journey all throughout M6 till now. They make it to the grand finals. So let's see the journey of TLID and FNOP.
Before they ultimately end the game, Aaron Shiki will fall. FNOP have wiped Team Liquid ID out. The Thunder Gods ascend, a peak they last reached.
The Indonesian rookies find themselves against an unstoppable opponent. They charge through the Swiss stage to the knockouts, proving their strength. They've taken down dragons. They've taken down giants. Now they are one rematch away from bringing the M Series back to Indonesia. But standing in their way for the third time is the Super Family, running hot off a smooth run in M6. They dominated through the Swiss stage with a 3-0 streak, and they remain undefeated even through the knockout stage. They are on a mission to carry on the strength of the Philippines as their last representatives. It is a revenge match of the Cavalry against the Sonics. Do the rookies have what it takes to finally defeat the unstoppable? Or will Fnatic Onic PH live up to their name as the super family that became a super team?
Sa mga doubters dyan, pagpatuloy nyo lang yan. Mag-doubt lang kayo sa akin. Isa kayo sa ginagawa kong inspirasyon para mas lumakas. 3 taon na ako nandito sa MPL. Ang dami ko na rin paghihirap na naranasan. Kaya andito ako ngayon sa M6 para maging isang greater than ever.
Walaupun gue di sini masih rookie dan gue tahu gue banyak yang harus dipelajari, tapi gue akan janji gue akan menjadi greater than ever.
Only one can be greater than ever. The grand final stage is set, and this is going to be a revenge match for TLID. Before we jump even further, Drex, we heard from Leo the strength of Fnatic Onic Philippines, the strength of the super family. Now I gotta have your take. What is the strength of TLID?
TLID has something that I like to call the steady charge, man. You know, they have their moments where they're too aggressive sometimes. They have their moments where they're not aggressive enough. But right now, TLID, when they don't go too far out of their range, when they're able to just draft normally and wait for that mess up by Onic Philippines where they pull out the EXP Yuzong, where they pull out something a little extraordinary, that's when the steady charge of TLID can take that game. They just need to keep it clean, don't get too crazy, don't try to invade in the first 2 minutes, and that's how they'll win games here.
And now the final hurdle to victory. This one's coming from Kelra in the gold lane for Fnatic Onic. He says
our mindset heading into the grand finals is to stay focused and strengthen our mental fortitude. We're reminding ourselves that winning will not only bring us the championship, but also the monetary rewards we've been dreaming of. Ultimately, it all comes down to working together as a team to achieve the victory we're aiming for in the grand finals.
You know what? The prize, the cash money. Now that's huge. This is a $1 million tournament. And now we're looking into the storylines as well. The revenge match here. So far, TLID, they have not been able to take down Fnatic Onic Philippines. And with that, looking at paper, Fnatic Onic does look like the favorites. Leo, you've seen TLID grow throughout this M6. Do you feel like it's enough to actually bring a challenge against Fnatic Onic Philippines?
Truth be told, it's very impressive how Fnatic Onic Philippines is having a smooth run. Even more impressive is how Team Liquid ID are flowing with the meta that's been growing every single day. One of their main strengths is their adaptability. The fact that yesterday they swept Selangor Red Giants, that's impressive. More than impressive, it was shocking. The whole Axiata Arena went silent. But I'll tell you now, if you bring that level of growth against a super family, I'm still a little iffy. I think the third time might not be the charm here.
Here's the thing, Leo. while we're still on us, I want to keep on you because I want to hear the story. In that video, we heard Kelra said, I'm in the MPL for 3 years. I've been through hardships, going up against rookies that they just started. You've been in MPL for the longest times. What has Kelra faced so far?
I've seen this young man in his debut season. He went into the grand finals, almost took down the eventual champions in Blacklist International. He's moved teams. This young man has flown here to Malaysia 2 years ago, this close to actually becoming a 2-time MSC champion. He has started his own family, now part of the super family. He is at the cusp of being an MPL champion MVP, an MSC champion MVP, and after this, if they win, he could become an M Series MVP.
And now we're looking at M-Chat here from Ben Things. Ben Things, is there any message to King Kong? And he said, all I can say to King Kong is, finally, you found the perfect team that can handle your intensity. You're also one of the most intelligent players who almost always knows the opponent's next move. Good luck in your match, Sigma King.
Sigma King Kong. I mean, this guy feels like a prodigy right now. He has definitely just taken us all by storm. I feel like just last year it was all Carl Teasy, Kyle Teasy, Kyrie, but right now King Kong is the name on everybody's lips. This guy is a monster.
King Cyric Perez is not the next Kyrie, not even the next Kyle, not even the next Carl. He is King Kong.
No, I'm with you on that one. For you guys at home, you guys can scan the QR code to grab your goodies. Now, listening to our analyst here, Wheezy, I gotta ask you, what is your stance on this matchup? Do you feel like it will go all the way? Do you feel like there's a big chance that it could go 4-0? And if so, who's the favorites for this one?
Well, I think for the favorites, it's no secret. And we've already seen it from the wild cards or to the Swiss stage and then to the knockout phase, right? They fought twice. And it was the same recipe. Fnatic Onic able to take down TLID. So I'd say favorites, definitely going to go to their side of the court. But we've seen the rise of TLID yesterday. We've seen their performance, and they're starting to scale, right? They have to stay alive, especially with the backlines. You have the Ghost of Jakarta, and also you have the Untouchable as well. Both of their backliners able to keep themselves alive through the engagements. We know Fnatic Onic is aggressive, right? They like to take the fight early. They just have to be able to sustain themselves. If they can do that, and fight their way through the early game, then I think we can go all the way.
And now we're looking at a player head-to-head here, the Sigma Junglers, because I believe both are that. King Kong going up against Fabian so far. You know the impressive thing here, Leo?
Yeah.
King Kong played less games than Fabian, and yet he has more stats.
Exactly. The Sigma Junglers, the Usurper and the Beast. Obviously, King Kong has better numbers. Fabian working on it. Last night he was on a tear, but here's a secret. The fact that these two are performing out of their minds, given the way the meta has evolved, junglers have actually taken a backseat. It's actually all about the gold laner. So the fact that they're staying on point this way means they're still at the forefront, pushing their teams forward.
Okay, what about you, Trice? What do you feel?
I mean, and I love that you said that right now junglers are taking a backseat, but when you look at these two junglers, they're ones that have not taken a backseat. These are two junglers, Fabian as well, who will completely take control of a game. It is not just in the hands of the gold laners anymore when we're looking at these two teams. Depending on how King Kong and Fabian perform is going to determine a lot of how these games go.
Right now, Weezy, I got to ask you, because people will say TLID coming in here with a bit of a handicap because they played yesterday. So Fnatic Onic Philippines have seen what they have shown. And before I even continue the question, Axiata Arena, we're jumping into the first drafting phase of the Grand Finals of M6. And then the question I present to you, Easy, do you feel like TLID has shown too much? Do you feel like they've shown the stride that they shouldn't have shown against Fnatic Onic Philippines?
I don't think so. I believe the meta, even though it's been adapting, there's a lot of things that both teams, rules that they have to follow, right? I mean, we see that Joy sneak up in there. We know how effective it could be. I think it's going to definitely be a battle of who can win in the draft. who can find the back line pickups, who can get the Hilda, who can find the heroes that create that separation. But I don't feel like they've shown too much. I feel like we're still going to see similar picks today. It's just going to really boil down to who has the better micro engagement.
You know, we're looking at these bands now, and already we see a little bit of change in what we usually see. The Alpha band from Fnatic Onic Philippines, and it's been a pick that they're one of the few teams to really actually rely on that Alpha still. They'll use it against the Suyo, they'll use it against other junglers, and King Kong is so comfortable on it, but seeing them ban this out, and then in response, the Joy band, the last two powerhouses on the field right now are the Suyo or the Fred at this point. Still Hayabusa, but plenty of options here.
It looks like the Super Family setting up for a Jushin or a Cho. Strong mid, strong rotations.
I gotta say, a lot is open here because if we're looking at the bans here, FNOP, they're banning a lot, but they're leaving a lot open. I'm talking about Bruno. I'm talking about the Granger. Dude, there's so much, but I kind of feel like this is good for TLID because no matter what, they'll get two.
I feel like the Suyo's more prio right now than the Bruno or Granger. I think it's a good upfront pick. We've seen the Granger at least with the ability to counter the Bruno. We've seen the Bruno win out in late game, so just lots of options.
Yep, if you get Suyo here, you complicate what Fabian is able to play in the jungle, and you're bound to get either the Bruno or the Granger. So that's a good trade.
Yeah, so now, TLID, they don't have to pick up their jungler just yet. But really the question is, what's on the table? I'm looking at the Hayabusa as a hot pick since yesterday because the Alpha and the Joy, even the Fanny, they're out.
I'm almost in a boat where maybe you don't rush marksman. Since Granger and Bruno are both open, maybe you go for the Cho here. Maybe you go for something else around the map here.
Maybe you go Bruno Cho. I'd still want to give a marksman to the untouchable one.
Yeah, I mean, Bruno, the thing is I just worry because if you pick the Bruno, does the Granger immediately come out and outpoke you for early game?
Or maybe you go for the solution. We get that Cho, but we also get the Granger, the solution to the problem first. Will Kelra budge?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll pick up the Bruno here. I mean, it is going to be going up with the Granger. We've seen how effective the Granger can be as well against it. Now, you have this Cho, right? You just took away that versatility from FNOP when it comes to the Brusco the Bruiser, right? He likes to kind of rush in with that, get the setups, and that is a good start to finding a way to the backlines.
Okay, right now looking at Fnatic Onic Philippines, they pick up the Bruno, and now they pick up that Lu Yi, Leo. These are the first 3 picks for Fnatic Onic Philippines. Do you feel like they got a good start here?
I think the Monster Mage is very happy, and if Super Prince is happy, the Super Family is happy. Just with these 3, you have your core set up. You can also just now think of a front line. And look, another core for TLID. You were looking for the Hayabusa.
I was looking for the Hayabusa because, come on, what else is there?
It's been one of the few answers to the Suyo, essentially. If you don't have the Joy, Hayabusa is your next best thing.
Yeah, and with the Hayabusa, right, it's easily able to get to the Lu Yi, a hero that likes to stay from afar but lacks the mobility.
Gentlemen, they need to choke out the frontliners now. Get rid of Tigreal, get rid of the Hylos, get rid of the Gatot.
Okay, now, here's the thing. I'm actually looking at TLID here. They have the Granger. The Granger is good going up against the Lu Yi because you can actually open up the map. But I'm a little bit worried here about Ezekiel, the Ghost of Jakarta, because looking at that, so you're looking at how King Kong plays, I feel like a lot of aggression is going to mid. How will he answer that?
Well, I think they go for maybe some long distance here, right? We've seen Aaron Shiki pick up the Poke Granger. Maybe they lock in something insane like the Novaria, something long range, something like the Xavier we saw very early on. I don't know if that's how you want to start off in game 1, but maybe it's exactly how you start off in game 1.
A little closer to the chest, like a Farsa.
Farsa
has been getting good results.
Oh, Trex is onto something here, folks. Novaria gets banned out. So again, like, we know these teams. It's been 24 days that M6 has been going through. We know that Onic will attack that mid. Because if you look at their 2 bans already for Ezekiel, they're really challenging the Ghost of Jakarta. What else do you got?
Yeah, the mid lane Maestros trying to get some finesse. With the Lu Yi, it's a lot of mobility for the side of FNOP. I do agree with the Farza pickup. I think it could be wise, especially with the Wings by Wings for some mobility on your side. We also got to take a look at FNOP, right, for the XP and the roam position. There goes the glue, so maybe the Hylos, maybe the Gatot sneaks up in here. We know it's a great way to create some chaos and to be able to get to the back line, and there goes the Hylos.
Does Fnatic Onic pick up a specialty for Kirk? Do they get the Edith, or do they deny away the Gatot?
Or what about
that's a lot of jumps. Or the Khalid for Brusco? That's a lot of mobility between the diversions and the sandwalks.
Let me just say, if we do have a Khalid roam here, I'm not. If I'm TLID, I'm not feeling good.
I'm not feeling good at picking Farza anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like a preemptive strike if you pick up the Khalid here. It's a preemptive. You're not going to pick a stable mage. It better be one that can move around. So they take in Edith. Still one more pick. Roam or EXP still, essentially. Most likely this is the Kirk special, though.
I know Kirk, man.
I like the Khalid here. Not gonna lie. Something aggressive going up against the Cho as well. They're taking the time here. It looks like they pick up the Gata Kacha instead. Jumping to the back lines. They have multiple angles. Divergent here, but then suddenly Avatar of the Guardian coming from somewhere else. Multiple angles by Fnatic Onic Philippines here.
And now it comes down to what Yehezkiel plays. Yehezkiel, Wiseman, what you got? It's got to be something range, right? You don't want to dive in.
But the Gato Kacha is there as well. Even if you pick up a Farsa, you're going to get caught.
Yeah, I don't think you go for anything like the Valentina. You're just so close. It is tough. No matter what, you're in a tough spot. So maybe it's a what are you comfortable with pick here. Maybe it's a what are you okay with here.
I mean, it could even be the Aurora, right? I mean, you have a lot of frontline heroes who can get the crowd control effect in your aspect, especially when you have a Cho and you have the Hylos. They're good at diving, but that overall group setup potential might not be there.
Need a stopper.
Oh!
He's played this once.
Yes!
And it comes out. He's technically both in your face and away. The Lilia.
Lilia, the last pick. But let me tell you, folks, in a best of 7, if you want to take risk, if you want to take chances, it's definitely for game number 1. Thank you very much to the panel. Axiata Arena, get ready because we're jumping to game number 1.
We started with 16 and now we're down to 2, and third time is the charm here. The third time these two teams, these two champions from their respective regions will meet up to find out who will be the world champion here. What is up, guys? I'm Naisu, joined on the desk with Gideon Q and Mirko. Gentlemen, how are we feeling about the first draft?
I'm feeling the first draft is interesting. Punish your front lines, be able to diversify, go into the back lines as well. Cool places to attack each comp. Hey man, they're gonna go in for the dive. They want to play their game. Both of them, right? FNOP want to go aggressive. TLID want to go aggressive. It's a brawl.
It's going to be a brawl out here again, a best of 7, and we're starting it up with game number 1. Axiata Arena is ready for this bout, and both these teams have fought through the gauntlet to lead up to this. Already in the mid lane, a lot of early action expected with what we've seen so far. Super Prince pretty low here, but we got to talk about the fact that the meta has really set in, especially throughout the knockouts and where we've landed now. But this Lilia pick from Yehezkiel, mind you, one of the players that brings out the most unique heroes to the game here. And how does this work out?
Yeah, they brought up the Xavier. We were expecting something like that too. Oh, Witty with the flicker out. But yeah, this pick isn't really something we see too much of from Yehezkiel in MP Indonesia Season 14. Though, however, when his name was still Sin, we saw a lot of Yehezkiel Lilia.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the few picks that can apply a lot of pressure to your opponents, right? As long as you are hitting those stacks and making sure that you are continuously keeping them in place, you're basically a zoning mage, right? And let's not forget that, at least with Lo Yi, yes, the yin-yang reaction is great, but it also has the conditions of making sure you have an enchanted talisman, for an example. And you can even see, right, from the emblems itself, he wants to live in these fights to continuously throw them out.
Oh! Flicker out from Yehezkiel. Shadow Kill, not ready just yet. There you go. King Kong gonna be very low. Shadow Kill not able to transfer over to King Kong. Both teams surviving, no casualties as of the first minute.
Well, good thing though, you know, Yehezkiel doesn't go down. Had to burn the flicker, so that is going to be down. Also the revitalize from Brusco. But both teams still obviously looking for that potential first blood, really on this side of the map here.
Okay, it's Kirk. We're just gonna walk up. Aran doing the same thing. Both of the tanks here, frontliners. It just seems like, you know, it's kind of a similar game that Brusco wants to play compared to Aran. It's all about screening, waiting, and I would say distracting the back line.
I mean, as long as the back line is confused with where they need to go, Team Liquid ID, we know for a fact they kind of want to go straight forward at their opponents, but only on the right conditions. And hopefully, it's based on where Super Preference is going to be showing himself.
And that's a part of this. Again, level 4 for Witty, not available just yet. So not going to be able to go for that pick-off potential. Same thing on the other side. You know, it's Fnatic Onic PH that wants to take their time as they approach the first objective. Don't want to overextend. Brusco has been fantastic throughout the tournament, making plays himself, you know, setting things up like, for example, with the Khalid that we saw earlier on. Here's the taunt, though. Witty's in trouble.
Kundo
Witty jumping back and forth. Wave the dragon over to Brusco. That's Fabian walking up. Shadow kill to Brusco. AOD able to escape.
He's still alive, and now they keep on going for it. Aaron Shiki's hitting back against Super Fritz. The front lines are starting to crumble.
Revitalize. Witty jumping back into Kundo. Nakabrusco up. Diversion to the back as well. Witty taken down by Kirk with that Primal Wrath.
And they'll make it happen. First blood still going though.
Yep, they're gonna keep on rushing. Oh, he's alive, right? They're
Whoa.
all good. They all good. All right. First blood goes through as expected. We weren't hoping for this game to be extremely bloody. It's still a marathon. It's not a race.
Aran will be trying to zone them away. Queller comes in from King Kong. Fabian on Aran gonna go for the stun. Kirk with the onward, and that's the kill with a Soul Sever. 2 kills for the neutral objective. Fabian.
He's fine. Oh, whoa, he goes back. Kirk. Oh,
They're not done with it yet. They want to keep on trading as much as they can. They cannot let this gold go too far off their leads.
you see already the back and forth, the pendulum is already swinging this early in the game. And that's what you want to do. If you're TLID, you want to go in for those pickoffs. You utilize the fact that you're so mobile on this Hayabusa for Fabian. He does pick up a Hunter Strike already too. Black Shoes already used from your Hezkill.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage, man. Diversion. Don't know if they spot it. Hezkill spots it. Oh, no one takes it. Just a bit of vision, utility here and there for FNOP.
Great call. But so far, you can tell that both teams are trying to determine where the battle lines are, right? Respect the borders. The river has been such a dangerous place already in the first 4 minutes of the game, and only very small advantages have been created. So far, King Kong, a single level ahead of Favian for now, and things could start snowballing out of control, because even Kirk has a lead on Iran.
He has a lead right now, still kind of checking out the area here too, locking in the buffs before this next objective does come up. But so far, so good. Even for Fnatic Onic, PH, Kirk could be in trouble. Pops the Primal Wrath, might get run down.
No flicker. Fabian with the quad shadow, able to connect onto Kirk. He is all isolated. He will not use the resources here. It will just be a kill. A good pickoff for the cavalry.
And Fnatic Onic PH have not found the trade on the opposite side. Close, but still no cigar this time. Woody able to cover on air on Shiki, knowing the motions coming in for Fnatic Onic. That first rotation looks good. Here comes the next fight.
Taunt in the Soul Sever from King Kong. Revitalize used up by Aran. Whoa. Send over to Brusco. AOG defensively. And that will be it in that skirmish. Meanwhile, the Usurper, Fabian, up top, picking up a turret. Diversion coming down as well. King Kong charging up the surge. Won't be able to find it. Fabian should be able to escape freely.
Gets out freely, gets a turret. Fabian doing work right now. He's everywhere on the Hayabusa. And that's what Fnatic Onic PH has to watch out for. Head on a swivel, but again, they have the Luo Yi. We saw Super Friends play this hero to a T throughout this tournament. And for the M6 in general, it's been such a crucial pick for a lot of teams in their compositions and how they approach the macro level of the game. Now that this turtle is up, though, second one for the taking, TLID has a very minor lead. And they'll try to get control of this too. Again, even if they plant Yehezkiel up front as a mage, it's fine. He can always Black Shoes out and just try to bait out some of the resources from Fnatic, and that's why they're so careful on the approach. Oh, bottom side.
Oh, Carol might actually, oh man, Fabian already used a shadow kill earlier, so no kill. Diversion, Aran. Stopping the bush, Aaron Chiki able to dash away from the Earth Shatter. Now it's Witty coming down, King Kong securing the turtle.
He finds it. They manage to walk away. If they disengage now, it's going to be a plus for Fnatic Onic PH here, but the Usurper will not let this stand. He's looking for another turret. That's 2 already secured.
At this point, this guy, he's a jungler, but he's also a turret destroyer, right? He's pushed down 2 tier 1s, but look at this side of the jungle. They're going to be focusing here. Witty should be able to get out, takes the Queller, but he's fine. But they do take a buff, and so they are going to try to find something around the map, and that's what Fnatic Onic will always do when they get the information on the moves coming out from TLID. So next focus for them, again, both teams already having 1 turtle, but the next time this comes up, the Lord is for the taking here. And that's where we really have to start to look. Are the items in place for them to fight out? Witty.
Great dash away from the Jikundo. Witty gonna be caught in the back spot. Kelra picks up the kill. Shadow kill from Fabian. Kelra's gonna be taken down by Fabian.
Revitalize already popped down as Super Prince is going to get zoned out. Brusco should be gone for it. Yehezkiel bails out with the Black Shoes.
Oh, they still want to fight?
Oh, back into Fabian. Kirk going in as well. Primal Rat to take him down.
No!
Shiki bursted by the yin-yang reaction of Super Prince.
That's a great collapse. A clap back from Fnatic Onic PH. This has been a battle of inches so far. We haven't seen any real momentum, but at least this time round, Fnatic Onic PH fight on their terms after the initial aggression from TLID.
And that's what they had to have happen at this point. Again, waiting for that first lore to come up. That also allowed now Kelra has the Malefic gun on the Bruno alongside the Haas Claw. So he's got the 2 items, and over on the other side, Aaron Shiki still building up into the second item. But they also grabbed themselves that tier 1 turret now on the top side. So playing into this in 20 seconds when that Lord comes up, Fnatic might decide to go ahead and approach this in a different way. Remember, every single time they can utilize Super Frints with the Luo Yi, show up at an off angle, and surprise TLID.
All right, so we're seeing a different approach to the Granger here in the Grand Finals. Aaron Shiki going for the safer approach. Usually we see Skypiercer item 2 diversion. Fabian's gonna be careful here.
They spot him.
Action, no, the taunt as well. No, Fabian gets away from the taunt, gets out of the worldy. Or just the last shot, actually. Not even worldy committed by Kelra.
But now the Lord, they've lost position on it, right? With Fabian so low, I don't think he can contest for this. Let's see how TLID is going to handle as they drop the Glorious Pathway.
Glorious Pathway down as well. King Kong able to burst it down with the Soul Sever. Witty jumping in with the Yuno and the Dragon.
And then continue forward. Aaron Shiki holding his ground. They're looking for a fight. No! Fabian fights one. Kelra takes down another. And now without any purifies, Kelra walks forward, finds it. Kirk takes it. Aaron Shiki is down. And that is going to be a full wipeout here for Fnatic Onic PH.
The gold standard! Kelra making his mark on the world stage in the Grand Finals. A wipeout, and now he's just balling down these turrets.
He saw Fabian take the turrets, he takes the team and the mid turret, tier 2. Taking a look at the instant replay brought to us by Kadia. This setup was so good, and it looked like Team Liquid had an idea on how they could win this team fight. But the biggest problem, look at the positioning for Kelra. Untouched, just able to move and groove and slide around and pick up the kills and clean things up.
I think that TLID, even though they had an idea in terms of execution, could not find it just yet, right? Oh no, Witty, he's
man, Kelra! This is the burst! Aaron Shiki to become AOG. Aaron Shiki to be falling to Brusco! Diversion to the back!
And Brusco, he doesn't mind with Kirk and Super Prince already holding on. Yehezkiel making sure those minions are down. They can't get out of this just yet.
Kelra is unstoppable and is going for more as well. Kelra gets a double.
Into the slide, he went. The toss up, the slide, it's all on point.
Talking about chemistry, the Super family well connected there, making sure that the onward and the slide tackle are perfectly in combination, and they get to walk out for free despite being in the base with Holy Shields.
And this is why it's just so infuriating. It's so annoying to go up against Fnatic Onic Philippines. For the few 6 minutes we saw, we were like, all right, they were matching King Kong, they were matching Kirk, but then Kelra shows up.
It's a tough game. It's a really, really tough game here. Based on the items, you can see the respect coming out from both sides, all right? Aaron Shiki currently at 2 items with Hunter Strike and the BOD. He's not going for Skypiercer this time around, but even Fabian, right? He's not going for Skypiercer either. He wants instant power. He hasn't gotten the War Axe just yet, but decided to finish the Malefic Roar first.
There it is, locking that in. And this is the difficult part of it, because if we have to look at and break this down, Team Liquid ID, they just had a landslide gold deficit now. You can see it, right? They're feeling pretty good. The lightning emotes are out, the charge is up. But for Team Liquid ID, they kind of relying on Witty. But the problem is, he prioritized Magic Resist. But the Kelra's the problem right now. A couple shots alone brings Witty down, even Aran on the high-lows. So now this is where they go ahead and continue to put the pressure, take the buffs, take whatever they want. And it's up to Team Liquid ID and Witty and Aran to figure out how do we deal with this.
I mean, right now, the next item, Power Spike, that we can see, Winds of Nature, already purchased by Kelra. He doesn't mind to go for those 1v1s, either against Fabian or even from Aaron Shiki. But at this point, I think that TLID will have to just sacrifice another inhibitor. This next fight is going to make it or break it for them.
And Yehezkiel just can't get close. The fact of the matter is, Kelra already has the Malefic gun, so he's going to be outranging the glooms coming down from Yehezkiel. And if he needs to dish out a bit more damage to get the kill, he's going to have to sacrifice the black shoes, maybe even the flicker. And I don't know, man. I don't see Lilia as an execute hero.
I mean, Lilia is supposed to be designed against Brutsko, maybe even Kirk, sometimes even King Kong if he's already dashed into the middle of the fight, right? He needs Aaron Shiki to kind of slow them down so he can make sure he hits every single one of his abilities. But for now, Fnatic Onic, they understand that they've got better team fighting overall based on the number of fights that they've had around the river.
And Aran will go ahead and give the information that Fnatic Onic PH will go ahead and start up to the Lord here. They're pretty scattered across the map, so they might just be making the call, you know what, give up the Lord, give it to them, and get ready for a base defense because they got a lot of catching up to do. They're down 8,000 gold. The good thing is they hold on to the base turrets earlier on, but now that this Lord is getting ready to siege in and what we've seen so far from the team fighting capabilities of this lineup from Fnatic, Onic, PH, Team Liquid ID is going to have to pull some type of a miracle already. Diversion, just trying to spot things out. Aran is there alongside Fabian. Wants to go ahead and grab his purple buff before this fight, before this defense that they need to pull off. But they're just shoved off of it again. So they have no choice but to go ahead and get prepped and ready for that Lord crashing down on the bottom side, managing the waves. The flares will go out, giving them the information at this point. And so now, Fnatic, Onic, PH, are they going to press the situation, dive into the base, over the walls as the Lord charges in?
Wouldn't be too bad of an idea if they do so, right? As long as Kelra has the space, he can do whatever he wants to, and even sidestepping the Death Sonata shots just to make sure TLID gives him respect.
Look at that, Milfic gun. That's what it gets you. You can hit the turret from so far away. It's a mortar. Slowly but surely just catapulting his way into the base turret. 2 base turrets gone just like that. They're blitzing the base of Liquid.
Are they going to go for a third here?
Oh, yeah.
That's made Dragon. Over to Kirk. Kirk can be caught. Aaron Cheeky unable to dish out enough damage. Aran is demolished. Obliterated in front.
And with... that's tough. Aran is gone. Diversion.
Oh my god, almost available! The head deal is quelled! And Brusco goes in for the AOG. 2 members down.
Literally vaporized at this point, and now going for the endgame scenario. They just don't have the items to hold on!
Kelra's just focused. FNOP claim game 1 in a dominant fashion.
Dominant game number 1. 7-1-5 for the gold standard Kelra, but man, the entire lineup shined in their own way through this. And for Team Liquid Indonesia, a lot to go ahead and calculate from here. Again, it's a best of 7. There's plenty of time to readjust, reconfigure the game plan here, and we'll see how those adjustments are made. But first, of course, we're gonna have this broken down by our panelists over there to tell us exactly what happened here in game number 1.
Let me tell you what happened. Fnatic Onic Philippines, this is the first time they play at the Axiata Arena stage. The first game is just to remind you of what they're about. If you're thinking coming in that, okay, maybe TLE has chance, they came in here and they're like, let me remind you, we have not dropped a single series.
Everybody asked the question, what is Fnatic Onic doing? Are they resting? Are they preparing? What are they doing in their off time while you see TLID fight it up against SRG? And I guess now we have our questions answered.
Dude, honestly, like looking at this game, I gotta say 10 minutes flew by so fast. Shout out to Hello Panda, by the way. 10 minutes flew by so fast that I was shocked. I was shocked. I went for a quick toilet break. I came back and then I'm like, what happened? You gentlemen, tell me, what happened?
That was what you call a lightning round.
That was a lightning round. That was definitely, it was a quick little, that was a pre-round. You know, it was a pre-round. It was a warm-up. But right now, I felt like FNOP came in, warmed up. They waited their timing. They didn't rush things in the beginning. They even let themselves take a couple deaths. They sacrificed 2 off-lane towers. But Kelra never went down. And the moment we got to that first Lord, it showed tremendously the patience of them, not only on a full fight level, but in those team fights, the way they approach each fight, they're always looking for the turnaround.
This is what you get when a team such as the Super Family ends up with a draft that they're very comfortable with. This is what I meant when each team brings their own meta and you play that within the evolving meta. And Team Liquid ID, they did try, right? Like they tried to one-up and say, oh, we're gonna pick the Granger first, and then we end up with a Cho, and then small jungle pool, Hayabusa. It's not like they had a bad draft, it's just Fnatic Onic know this game so well and know how to play within the cracks, which was, again, why in 10 minutes they were able to, as you say, just take over.
And it's taken over, a domination, a lightning round, as Leo stated. And to me, something that stands out was Brusco the Bruiser on this Gatot. We saw several engagements where he went in, took several hits, went back out, waited a second, looked back, saw Aaron Shiki, jumps back in, and guaranteed the kill, whereas I feel like Witty, he was just having a very hard time on those initiations.
Right now, gentlemen, elephant in the room, this Lilia pick. Do you guys feel like it's serviceable in this series? Or is this gonna be the last time we see this Lilia?
I don't think the Lilia was the problem. The Lilia was packing a punch. It was giving them very good early game rotations. It was clean. Honestly, some of the big mess-ups came from the Cho, came from Witty, either over-aggressing, the team fight's already over, he's re-engaging when he's a little too low on health. You know, things of that nature was my issue, at least, with this match.
And in comes a term that we often hear in analysis, forced errors. I think it was up to the bruiser, Brusco, playing that man-to-man defense throughout 80% of the game that checked Weedy. It's so hard as a Cho if you can't find odd angles, and what makes it worse is the extra battlefield mobility provided for by the Lo Yi. The Lilia was just, she had to check every corner. The Lo Yi, though, you saw that there was a micro diversion, even inside their own base. TLID wasn't safe. And so it's this mid duo that keeps TLID on their toes even from the start.
And I think we all know what the tenacity does now. I mean, you got a good showcasing of that from Brusco the Bruiser. There were just so many engagements, but I felt like he was like 1 HP, but that little bit of defense made the difference. And that just shows you, it's more of the, I don't really feel like the draft was the issue. It was just micro plays. You see Witty just overextending, getting picked off, and that one slight decision made the difference.
I want to touch on the draft a little bit, but we're going to do it after this analysis because I'm seeing something here. I wonder if it will happen again in game number 2, but now we're looking at the damage numbers, and Kelra had a pretty good time. But honestly, Aaron Shiki, even though from a losing position, 46,000 damage, honestly isn't that bad.
What the Untouchable one did was get out of lane much, much sooner. I think that's where a lot of the Sonics, all of the fans of the Super Fam, that's where they stood up and said, oh, it's real now. Because remember that first big team fight where everyone was part of, that I'd say Liquid ID won technically, he got out of the lane, Kelra didn't. So that means Aaron Shiki and Liquid ID know how to use the map and how to space out when they can. Apparently that didn't cost Aaron Shiki much. So that's why he dealt this much damage. Compared to Kelra, who took it slow, played the long game, and eventually hit his power spike, it was inevitable for the core to outscore Liquid IDs.
And now we got to look at the MVP of the game. It's going to be the gold standard. Kelra on that Bruno. One of the best heroes giving it to one of the best players. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I mean, Kelra has continuously been a monster, and he needed to take that patience in the early game. He needed to wait right around 7 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes. That's when those power spikes start hitting, and that's when FNOP is like, okay, let's do this. And Kelra did it so well, even in that last big team fight. We'll see it when the highlights come up, I'm sure. He goes off, he takes down Witty while the rest of the team is fighting, and then he comes in through second, third quarter of that fight and just starts cleaning up with perfect distancing, perfect turnaround.
And how did he do that? A priority on Haas clause. So many times in this game, especially in the early to mid, Kelra we put down to 1/3 of his health. And that's why you said in the later 2/3 of that fight, he would somehow come back, is because of the Haas claw. And gentlemen, guess what his second item was?
The range.
The Malefic gun. And that suddenly changed the way Team Liquid ID had to push their frontliners forward. Aran was at half health even before he could see Kelra. Widdy was usually dead even before the fight really began.
Yeah, honestly, looking at this matchup here, Fnatic Onic Philippines, we were talking about how great the micro is, and so far they're really showcasing it. I feel like for both teams, they have this understanding that moving around the map, we both know how to do that. But let me out-muscle you. And I gotta say, Fnatic Onic Philippines, they really showed their muscle here. Speaking of muscles, I'm actually looking at how the draft really progressed in the first game just now. In terms of how the game played out, we see a lot of different roles really at how the draft really progressed in the first view. And I gotta say, Fnatic Onic Philippines, they really showed their muscle here. Speaking of muscles, I'm actually looking at how the draft really progressed in the first game just now. Can have a fair matchup because TLID, when Fabian is not on a hero that he can initially perform by himself, not saying he's not good on the Hayabusa, but something like a Joy, something like a Suyo, it's a different TLID.
It's definitely a different TLID, and I think when we come to this next game, there's a big chance TLID takes first pick. So we are definitely going to see some differences in draft, differences in bans, and the way things are driven through that. Big chance maybe we see them favor Fabian and give him the Suyo up front, or maybe FNOP bans it out. We'll have to see exactly how it goes. And again, I don't think it was a complete draft issue. I think FNOP knew their power spike opportunity. They executed it perfectly. And TLID didn't respect it. They didn't respect that 7.5-minute rush and just over-engage. They didn't keep it steady.
I agree with you that I also don't feel it is a draft issue, but we gotta respect the draft here because it really does look like the coaches, they're making some mental notes of how they feel, how they move around the map with certain heroes. And I feel like this is the intricacies when we're looking at the grand finals. Is it a bad draft? Absolutely not. It's an amazing draft. But the coaches know the difference between a Joy, a Suyo, a Hayabusa, a Lancelot, a Ling. And that's why they're keeping the options to the point where it's like, you're good on this hero, but we know what you're gonna do on second minute, the third minute, and we can punish that.
Yeah, speaking of punish, we're seeing even the gold laners, like you're still seeing the Bruno starting to walk, you're seeing the Granger starting to walk. They're willing to roll that dice, right? If we get the Granger, hey, we know we can still win on it. If we get the Bruno, we can do that as well. So now it's more of that prio on limiting that jungle potential.
You know what? If it does come down to it, we are still looking at about, 47-53 win rate for blue and red. If ever, some way, somehow, Liquid ID does, if Coach St. DeLucas gives the blessing, hey, leave open the Joy, leave open the... I don't think the Fanny's going to see the light of day. So leave open the Joy. And then they trade for the Blue Yo Joy. It's a question, is that going to be a fair game? Is that going to be like a better go for Team Liquid ID? I'd say no. I'd say it's possible that Liquid still just folds.
Question here. Before that, we got to look at a quote here. The test of champions from Coach St. DeLucas. Over the past 3 weeks, we've worked to instill a champion's mentality. Although the players are new to the M Series, they've embraced this mindset. Being a pro is easy, but developing a champion's mentality is not. After our second loss to FNOP, it was chaotic and emotional. We had to make adjustments to our playstyle and strategy. Facing them again will be a critical test, and losing for a third time would be devastating. As we prepare for this match, it all comes down to mentality, focus, and enjoying the match. Weezy, this is an insight that I have not seen. I didn't know losing against Fnatic Onic Philippines affected them this badly. It was chaotic and emotional.
Well, I'll tell you what, to go somewhere you've never been, you got to be willing to do something you've never done, right? And that showcases that he's ready to take it to another level. He realizes that there's a difference from being a pro player and being a champion, right? It's bouncing back, being resilient, and that is what I expect to see from TLID in game number 2. Now, it's going to be a battle, right? It's these little decisions. We all agreed the draft is one thing, right? But it wasn't a one-sider because of the draft. It was just slight decisions that costed TLID that game.
You know what, Stefan? What was that little nugget of wisdom? To do something.
To go somewhere you've never been, you got to be willing to do something you've never done.
And that's what I'm trying to say about this whole jungle matchup. We've seen the Joy Suyo, we've seen the Fredrin Suyo, and we know how that works out. But what if TLID find a different angle of attack? Something that maybe we haven't even presented yet.
Granger jungle.
Just don't ban.
I mean, Syzygen used it. Granger jungle. Pick up Granger and Bruno.
It's a different time.
Something different.
I mean, he is saying what you're saying, but I don't know if we're talking about that much extremes, I don't know, when I see the alpha in the last draft, FNOP decides to go for the alpha ban. And then we also see the Joy ban. I think you have to respect and kind of understand where they're approaching and say, fine, we're going to ban Suyo too. And just take all of those big picks off the field. Either you leave a lot open or you take it all off the field and bring it back down to Stone Age, right? You bring it back down to something different.
Here's why I'm so confident in the jungle argument for Fnatic Onic Philippines. Is because we've seen games where King Kong was given scraps. We've seen King Kong forced to play the Fredrin again. We know that he is an assassin specialist. We know that he's such a mechanically gifted player. If you give him a hero that just presses button like this, heroes that I do well with, he still does well. Somehow he works for the team. So I don't know if Fabian can do just the same.
Yeah, but I feel like we can actually explore the idea coming in from Trax. Make it ground zero. Have a gentleman's agreement to be like, all these S-tier junglers starting to become a nuisance. If we take down most of them, then we'll see things like the Bane. Heck, something we haven't seen in ages. Maybe we get to see the new skin of Boxia. Who knows?
Don't tease me.
But the thing is,
I'm getting excited.
I feel like that is a very big risk to take because it's a gentleman's agreement. TLID might think that, but Onic might read that and be like, oh, you want to get all of these junglers out? Game. I'm not going to ban any of them out. I'm going to ban something else.
If I know anything, I know that Coach Wynot and Coach Hayes are gentlemen, but you're asking for it. If you just suddenly allow things like this, then you best believe be ready to be punished.
Well, I mean, we are in the state of a game, right, where we're on grand finals. These are the two best teams in the world. You know, you have to be able to play scraps if that's what you get. You have to be ready to go against super meta picks. You know, we can break down, we can theorize the draft all day long, but in the end, you know, like I said, I feel like in the end, Team Liquid ID has to perform in game with whatever is handed to them. They have to be prepared for that, and that's where I think they really need to step up here.
I think even with a gentleman's agreement, right, even if you go even further beyond that, right, it's the elements inside the game that are making the difference. The crowd control, the burst damage, that's what's making the difference. And honestly, I feel like if Witty, if he can't find the setups, he needs help. You pick up this Lilia, right, you trust that that's going to deal the damage, and you expect Witty to pick up all these pieces and get these setups, and maybe Aran rushing in as well, but it's not enough. Maybe getting the mid laner, the crowd control should have been the aspect as well to help Witty on these engagements. If they had those setups, maybe Aran could be the one to deal out that damage.
Alexander, that is a good angle. I like that maybe Yehezkiel has to now suddenly play utility again, not true core.
But we've seen that happen, and for that to happen, he needs to have a hero like the Khalid so that there's some balance there. A little bit of damage, a little bit of crowd control. But remind me, remind you guys that in the draft, they actually targeted Yehezkiel. I mean, like, after the first 3 picks, we knew what was going to happen. We knew that the mid lane was not going to be safe. They bat out the Novaria as well so that the Suyo can gank. So I see the idea here, gentlemen, but we're going up against King Kong. Mid lane, I got to tell you, it's not safe. Even with the Aurora, even with the Vexana. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this game is going to be set up by the mid laners. Witty plays such an important part for his team, and he's really got to perform, you know. I mean, and if the Cho is maybe the Cho is not the option. Yes, it feels good sometimes. You can get those big picks, but we're also seeing it just get melted down. His emblem build, he picks up Thrill, he gets damage instead of going full tank, you know? I mean, it's maybe a little bit smarter to do something a little bit bulky because you know Kelra is going to be hitting hard, and you know that King Kong is going to be hitting hard.
Just putting it out there, if there's no Khalid, there's also the Jawhead.
The Jawhead would have looked
a lot of damage.
There. I thought about it, but
a lot of damage.
We'll see what happens. We're jumping into the draft now. There goes the Cho ban. There goes the Suyo ban.
Oh no, it might actually happen. Go back to the
Stone
Age. What if this is a Joy ban?
Joy ban. It's got to be.
Do you rush Alpha?
But then FNOP just picks Fred or something.
Exactly.
Like.
Yeah, I mean, like, now we have a dynamic here because we know that FNOP, they can take risks in the drafts. Like, you can pick up the Joy. Dude, King Kong has played so many Joys, he probably tells his team, this is where he's pathing. This is where he's ganking. This is his power spike. This is how we deal with it.
This is what FNOP did so well on first pick. They didn't just ban one jungler. They banned the Alpha and the Joy. They said Suyo is going to be gold this match. He's going to be the main prio. And I think this could be maybe the mess up from TLID unless they're giving Joy over and they have a lot of confidence in a Fredrin here.
Unless they go for the Joy, which I think Fabian did, and we come into one of your major discoveries in the knockouts, Fredrin.
100% win rate against Joy right now. I mean, it's just looking good, but they don't have to pick it up front. They pick up the Bruno here. They can go for the Hylo, something of that nature.
Also shadows.
The Lu Yi, more comfort.
Yeah, gonna have the mobility, gonna have the element of surprise to work for Fnatic Onic. Now, yeah, with the Joy pickup, definitely gonna be a challenge. I'm right there with you, Trex. I definitely believe with that 100% win rate on the Fredrin, that is possibly the wisest decision here. But, I mean, they've got a lot working for them already, right? You have this Bruno, a heavily prioed marksman, the best marksman so far, alongside the Granger as well.
I mean, here's the thing. Reminding that before this, Fnatic Onic Philippines, they had a draft where it's 100% for that Bruno. I still remember the draft. It's Bruno, Faramis, Matilda, having the Cho in the EXP, as well as Fredrin in the jungle. They played that kind of composition before. They have an option to do that again.
Yep, that was game 1 against Falcon Esports of Myanmar. And that went all the way, but it opened with such a banger. I think they can definitely do that still with the Lu Yi. And there it is, the Fredrin, baby!
I knew it was coming. I mean, there's some coaches that maybe aren't willing to risk it. There's some coaches that maybe they don't feel comfortable with their jungler on this, but we've been saying that King Kong will play whatever you hand him right now, and he's going to make this Fredrin look good. So what does TLID do to answer this? It's a troublesome spot. You either have full faith that you're going to be able to play around it, or you go for the Team Spirit swap. You go for the mid lane Joy maybe, and then it's a wait and bait.
That's an interesting idea, but I want to pull it back a bit. We were talking about this, where Weezy, you were the one that said that you need some kind of control mage. And I said, if you want that, you need a damaged roamer. And now they have that. They have the Khalid. And the thing is, they're not going up against an assassin now. They're going up against a Fredrin. So the counter here, the CC mid, as in like crowd control mid, it makes sense.
Yeah, and having this Joy is definitely going to be a threat, but with that Fredrin is some good security from FNOP, and yeah, right there with you with your Heskill. He should be going for the utility realm. It looks like they were kind of under the same sheet of music as us, right? With the crowd control from Witty, it's just not enough of those setups. A lot of those engagements that they were fighting it out on, it lost because Brusco was the first one to find the major setup play to win over the trade.
Yep, I'm 100% with you, gentlemen, and I hope that Liquid ID is, because that's what they need right now, a stopper in mid. Aurora still up there. Vexana, if you really want to get down to it.
Vexana.
If they put like a Farsa here, what would that feel like? Would that be enough? Would that be okay?
For FNOP or TLID?
For Liquid.
For me, it's a little bit difficult because even the Bruno with the Worldy can cause chaos there.
And it's not so easy for you to spot where the diversion's coming from.
Exactly.
We've seen, half a dozen diversions spotted by the random Ice Blast by an Aurora. So yeah, I agree. Let's see. Let's see if Liquid ID will go that route.
It's also tough to pick up a Farza on this first pick side because FNOP can always bring in one more counter pick if they want. A lot of answers. I'm still wondering, are we sold on the fact that this Khalid is Roam right here? Or do we maybe see something else picked up for TLID?
I think Roam is the right decision, but you could possibly pull out the Gatot here as well. And I mean, it would still kind of be the same situation. I feel like for Fnatic though, I feel like the same rule applies to them. They could change this up entirely. You have the Luyi, you have the crowd control. You technically could go in for a Mathilda here because you have Fredrin with the setup to Energy Eruption, and you also have a lot of crowd control from the Luyi.
One thing to note, a Mathilda, this is what MPL Indonesia has picked up. For you to fight against a Mathilda, you pick up that Khalid. So this Khalid is also showing to Fnatic Onic Philippines that we know that a Mathilda is in your arsenal. We have the deterrent for that pick.
TLID got to come up with something here. They go for the Vex, they go for the stiff arm, they go for the ability to help out in these objectives. It's something that they had trouble with last time that we saw. Final pick, EXP lane. What about the CC? It shreds down on this Fredrin.
It's good against the Fredrin.
The only one.
Can't survive diversion ambushes. Instead, they go for the old favorite, the Phoveus. That's what, 1 to 3 dashes?
Yeah.
So far.
And right now, Fnatic Onic Philippines, final pick here, and they themselves pick up the CC. This is a pretty good pick, but gentlemen, so far we've been calling the draft. We know the differences of ideas coming into game number 2. TLID going up against Fnatic Onic Philippines. Fnatic Onic Philippines, quite, in terms of the win condition, they have Kera, they have the CC as well. But now, thank you very much, gentlemen. But we have to continue with the show. We have to give it over to the casters for game number 2 of this best of 7.
Thank you very much, panel, for breaking down Game 2 draft here. Once again, 14 minutes on the clock in Game 1. Can TLID bring the series even, 1-1 in this best of 7? Gideon, how do you feel about the lineup?
I think it's going to be a little bit hard, right? Lane-to-lane matchups obviously leaning towards gold, but hopefully they can get enough of a lead on Aaron Cheeky and hold it until about mid-game where he can pop off. Otherwise, for Nop, that is, I mean...
Yeah. The Fredrin speaks for itself. The CC2. Fredrin against Joy, CC against that Khalid and the Phoveus matchup.
We'll see if it's all going to come to place once again. Team Liquid ID, a different lineup, able to fight the range that we saw earlier and maybe even contain Kelra. The gold standard on the Bruno once again as they go ahead and face off. But even with this, you know, the Fredrin has popped up a little bit more throughout now the end of the M6 tournament here. But it was a newer pick that was picked up a lot against these assassin junglers, or, for example, the Joy that ends up working out really well. So King Kong going back to a familiar and comfort pick, if you will, that the world was used to. Now in the mid lane, still trying to check things out here. Super Prince really low.
I feel like the world forgot about the 2 years that we had to deal with Fredrin in the
Can we
jungle.
forget?
I don't think anybody can forget that, right? But considering that Team Liquid has the Khalid on their side, they can force out priority, whether through mid, through top side. It depends on the direction that they want to go to. And for now, it's a help Aran get out of this lane. We're just going to let Aaron Shiki do his thing in the gold.
Yeah, I wonder what emblems he actually went for here. If Aran actually went for more agility, Wilderness Blessing, perhaps to just rotate around the map and help the team get neutral objectives, or if it's more of that Brawly style where he wants to go up against Kirk, he wants to win it out. Witty, though, on the other hand, this is a comfort pick for him. Witty the Wise on the Khalid. We saw this also yesterday, flicker out King Kong. Wow, that's quick for a Fredrin.
Yeah, he showed up real fast. Here's the look at the emblem. So to answer that, Aran does have the Festival of Blood, a little bit of extra movement speed too, but it is also just Fnatic Onic PH that likes to roam around, couple tenacities. Again, this is a tankier Super Prince Luoyi that we have seen in the past, but again, now mid lane.
Oh, no flicker on Witty. Ignite reaction coming down as well. Revitalize. Oh, Witty gonna be caught. Pops in. The healing. Kirk gonna be caught in the Curse Blast. FNOP and TLID are just poking each other.
I mean, this is just the kind of predetermined, hey, I demand respect around the river. And I understand why TLID wants to fight, right? At the end of the day, they can give up these neutral objectives, but they cannot afford to take that permanent damage. Whoa! They can jump right into the fight!
Oh, in front of pursuit, first blood for Aran. King Kong, though, picks it up. That's an Eternal Guard. Disengage now, Ton over 2. That's the kill over Witty. Gonna be caught in the bad spot. No flicker for Witty. Oh, no kill. FNOP don't want to chase. Fabian steals away the purple buff and gets out.
Gets out, gonna be able to take that purple buff away, but Fnatic on PH wanted to go in and fight. They will get it. I'm surprised too. Witty was still able to survive that, even without the flicker that he had to burn earlier on, but ultimately still even. You know, nothing too crazy, but the objective did go over to Fnatic on PH.
Well, actually, I think it might not be as even as we think it is, right? Fabian's level 6 to King Kong's level 5. Yeah. He had a previous 2-level lead because of the stolen buff, so I think that Aran was given the call, hey, if you can get a kill, that'd be great, and now Fabian will maintain that 2-level lead throughout this match.
Yeah, and the fact that Witty actually got out was just so valuable for them. They got the purple buff down below, though. It's gonna be a gank. Aaron Shiki, good use of the Death Sonata to get the AoE down on Kelra, and it clears the wave just in time to escape. Up top, Aran's actually winning this match. Oh, Kirk brought back again in front of pursuit. Oh, that was not the empowered skill 1.
Talk about the discipline, man. I mean, he held on to the vengeance. They're gonna take a trip, though. Towards the top side.
Fabian electrifying beats, gets him out to safety. Witty rotating as well. Raging Sandstorm, Super Prince flickers out.
He forces the flicker as soon as possible. Super Prince in so much trouble, gets hit by the Eternal Guardian as well.
Aran picks up the kill, another Infernal Pursuit. Now Brusco is going to be chased down. Witty rotating again, going in, looking for some damage, but Brusco should be fine. It'll be another trade on the board, and a CLID were capitalizing on FNOP's attempts.
Now they pull ahead slightly more for Team Liquid ID. And now Super Prince, that's twice, right? Yo, to Kirk!
Vengeance used up by Kirk. Can he get away? Witty will try to jump in. Infernal Pursuit. Kirk, so ignores the Brave by 1v2. Kirk slain by Witty up top.
Okay, no pressure, no sweats there. They got the dive off, they got the kill that they were looking for, and still we see that the advantage is held by TLID.
This is like a page out of the book we saw in game 1 from FNOP, where the layering of the skills and the timing from TLID is on point so far. Now, can they maintain that? They've gotten themselves a nice, comfortable gold lead, 2K ahead. They're building in now, first items all locked in, but this, Aran again.
Oh, for pursuit now, going to be chunked low. Kill pick up the kill. Fabian jumping in the back line, electrifying beats to run away. Eternal Guard not connecting. That's a good yin-yang reaction, or actually, now Kelra! Flicker forward, AOT!
He continues moving forward. Kelra needs to hold this position as Witty has to slow them down. They find one in Aaron, Jiki, and Kirk trading, and they want to go for one with the Raging Sandstorm. Wow. This fight between these two teams, nobody is giving up. Resources being thrown left and right.
No, I mean, it looks like you would think that there wouldn't be that moment, but then they crashed down. And again, that fight was started by Aran. He wanted it, but also now the two turtles in the hands of FNOP, plus a turret. Kelra, one hit away still, might go down eventually. Aran goes in.
No.
He flickers forward.
Yeah, a big flicker burnt, and Kelra's just having fun here in the bottom lane. Kelra with 2 kills is just so scary.
I mean, it's scary now, but he doesn't have the Berserker's Fury, right? He's building up to a Malefic gun, which I think he should be getting sometime soon. In the meantime, I think that Fnatic Onic PH, despite the slight lead going over to Teal ID, the first item Power Sparks are finally starting to roll in.
Yeah, they're catching up with those first items. That's a Thunderbelt now, too. Super Prince just got the glowing wand, so now working on his next. And I'm surprised, again, where's he going to go with this diversion? Brings in King Kong with him. Malefic gun now picked up for Kelra. They're going to get spotted out, but Fabian might be in trouble.
Okay, Fabian is able to retreat, going in. Super Prince flickering back into King Kong. Now it's Catan over. Fabian locked down. Brusco picking up that kill. Aran looking for the play. Raging Sandstorm in the flicker.
Oh, he connects, and now the Revitalized Kelra alive. Winnie, he's going to get melted still. King Kong holds the line.
Kelra again open, and Kirk with a follow-up. Kelra gets Yeheskiel down. It's a wipeout.
What? Just like that, 6 minutes, 36 seconds into the game, they achieve a wipeout against Team Liquid ID. That's what we call a pinch.
That is a pinch and more, and they're going to get more off of it. Again, you already see the Lightning come out, and it looks like they want to play that way even in Game 2. And Team Liquid ID, after that shocking wipeout, will have to readjust the game plan moving forward. Last Turtle spawning up. Kirk just holding his own.
He knows. He knows. He's a little too strong right now. I don't know how else I could say this, right? Just a War Axe. Oh, where's it? Where's it going? To the top side. Doesn't spot him out. I'm pretty sure they saw the River Crab get taken there.
Uh-oh.
You're going to set him up. Witty.
They spots him out.
Oh!
Puts him away. Now it's Brusco with the taunt as well. King Kong, there you get reaction. Oh! Shot Witty gets away just barely as he buys enough time for Fabian to recall.
How many times has Witty gotten away in this game, and he's going to have to continue to do that? Even looking at the items, again, as we split down the roles, as Kelra works on the tier 1 here. Witty's only got a Thunderbelt himself. You can see Starlium Scythe now, too, for Fabian, still working on his next, and Aran, Thunderbelt, too. So even the front line might be in danger because of the fact that this power spike for Kelra specifically.
Look at this guy!
Look at it! That's just the preview already, and he doesn't even have the Berserker's Fury yet.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking at the gold rankings on our little monitors, and he's got a 2K lead of his own, right? Oh my goodness. No, he's not going to die here, right? They just got to sacrifice the tier 2. No point to fight now.
Kelra is out-poking and outranging a Granger.
Yeah, that's, you know, at that point, and now that he gets and just works that turret down, King Kong's still looking for a fight. Witty.
Kelra able to side. Brusco picks up the kill. Eros, that Sonata does nothing. Kelra, slight tackle forward.
He's just showing off at this point. He's just showing off. I mean, what else can you say about it, right? He's getting away with everything.
He's sitting there.
He's got the super fan behind him.
Oh my lord.
If I had the super fan behind me too, I'd probably be as confident as Kelra, but right now they're already assaulting the base turret.
Aran walking up the Eternal Guard, not connecting. Brusco was able to dodge away from that one. Kelra is just munching on this turret from out of turret range.
We're not even hitting 9 minutes here as we move into that 9 minutes. 4 to 10, 7K gold lead. This is a ridiculous amount as Fnatic Onic PH are putting Team Liquid in a slow chokehold, and they just can't breathe.
No, they can't. Yin Yang reaction. The balls from Kelra. Diversion from Prince. And the diversion is truly a diversion. The mid wave comes in and Kelra picks it up. Reggie Sandstorm flicker. Kelra!
He's holding it forward. Aran has to hold the line. He goes down. Brusco cuts them off. A double for Kelra.
Again, the diversions will work in favor. Whether they send it forward or not, they make a win. And now working on the mid turret.
They're making this look so easy right now. And this is almost impossible to come back from. Yeheskiel just doesn't have the items. And with the next wave already crashing on, let's see how Fnatic Onic push through.
Fabian on the backside.
On it. Oh man, Fabian, he tried to go for the flank, but Kelra's the real assassin in Game 2.
They, honestly, at that point, now they can go ahead and focus on the Lord. It looks like they'll do that, but I wouldn't have expected at this point, 10 minutes in, 2 base turrets gone, non-existent for Team Liquid ID here.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Naisu. I did not expect this game to go so far to Team Liquid ID's control. I think a large part of it is because they take in these fights as if they're skirmishes, but Fnatic Onic slowly pushes these skirmishes together into one full 5v5, and that's what Team Liquid ID is failing to see.
Let's think about it here. Team Liquid ID, how do they adjust from this? They're 8,000 gold behind. There's no way they touch
any area here around this Lord. So it's more so of what's the game plan for the base defense on this push-in.
I feel like this is what we call in the business a checkmate angle for Fnatic Onic PH. They're not 10K, but they've got 2 inhibitor turns, which is already wild. This, with the Lord as well, I'm going to double check the items real quick on our monitor, and yeah, not enough of an item power spike. King Kong knows it, that they've got them in the triangle choke.
That's the beast. King Kong is just standing there, getting vision for the team, and now they're looking for another siege.
At this point, clearing up the waves. But again, as that Lord does make its way, they are going to work it down, but they just want this bottom turret down if they can fully expose the base. Lord making its way down the mid. And again, without those shields being part of this defense, that's a big advantage for Fnatic Onic PH because they did the work earlier on. So they all just have to wait for this Lord to push in and then decide, do they end the game? Do they take a turret? How do they approach it?
Let's see. Aran getting taunted back up. Oh my, Kelra's just dealing so much damage. I tackle. Kelra got the monster kill. Faven gonna be caught in the curtain call. Witty looking for an angle. Both base turrets taken now. Witty with a quick sand guard.
Now they're going for the back line. Brusco's buying some time, but Kelra doesn't care anymore. He's going straight for the crystal to put it to a 2-0 for Fnatic Onic PH.
You thought game 1 was fast. Well, Fnatic Onic PH said we'll make it faster. 11:50, and now sitting at 2-0 in the grand final best of 7. What is going on here?
They're looking like the more polished team right now.
Kelra has never made it to World Championship before. And the first one he's made it to, he might just get finals MVP here.
He just might. The whole team completely locked in already, shown us in game 1 and game 2. Panel, what do you guys think? Are FNOP locked in? What's going on here?
What we think here is that in M Series history, it's either a 4-0 or a 4-3. And now it's looking like it's going to the direction of a 4-0 because I gotta say the first 2 games, those were quick, but might I remind you, it happened here at Axiata Arena. That impossible happened where we had a reverse sweep. But either ways, this is looking a little bit too much.